Hello, I'm Eric. Welcome to this first video in a series of how we'll be modifying this Ragnarok Shell armor made by Langjahr Tactical Solutions. It is of course a really cool piece right off the box, but I want to do a lot of changes. We're going to start with making a design for it, how we make some templates, and then we're going to take it from there. So let's get crafting. So far I've been looking at the entirety of it, and the things that I really like are the level differences, especially in the lower abdomen area here. Like these side panels here are really beautiful. I like how they have these high points and these low points. However, I do believe that this area is a bit flat. I'm going to leave that for the painting to add some nice detail there. This large area, even if it has a lot of detail and a bit of level differences, I want to enhance this effect even further and create like an eye catcher in the middle. So this triangle in the middle I will do a template for in aluminum and cut that out and add, so we have like one extra level on top. Secondly, we have these awesome shoulders. Even if I like them a lot, I do believe I will change them out. Why? Well, for me, these are quite bulky. There are two sections for the entirety of the shoulder area, and I want to create that into three sections. So I'm going to actually screw these off and make use of these screws that were in place. These pieces will be reused. Probably go on the side of the armor because it does not cover the side of the abdomen for me. So I want it to be like a bit broader, and then we have to remake the clips down here, and we're gonna add those pieces here to here. I think that's gonna look really cool. And here we are with the shoulder parts. I already unscrewed these, and I'm gonna use these later on other places. There are the screws, so save them also because they're gonna be really useful of how to attach things to the vest. As I thought these were too big for my idea, I wanted to have something with more levels and also introducing aluminum. I've looked through all my my stuff I have in my storage, and I found these are all bumpers or protecting machines from moving around. They are broken in the front part, so I tried to salvage something that I have from before. As you can see, these are smaller, but they also are a quite nice thickness. They also have this nice rubbery material, which is still very stiff. So I'll go for these as a base. However, I did not want to have three of these over the shoulder. That would be too much of these lines and already existing patterns. So I thought about have a base plate for those to go on. And then I found a carpet from a car, also in my storage. It's a flexible, more flexible rubber. So with that cut into shape, I have this as my base plate. I'll have this bumper here, and I have another bumper over here. The section in between those, once again, too many different patterns. So I wanted to introduce something that goes like underneath these. These have this hollow groove. So I added another piece of that carpet here. Of course, this still has the pattern issue, but I want to cover this with a seat belt, that material, to add more of this nylon futuristic look. And there's also a bit of space here, so probably going to add a wire or something on the side. On top of these, I want to add a smaller plate, and that's where the aluminum is going to go. The aluminum will probably be etched, so have this kind of nice effect of 3D. Here we are with the bumper, and I made a template out of some thicker plastic. Sometimes I do this to give me a better look of how things will be in the end. So I like that effect. Probably gonna make some extra lip on it here to cover up a bit of this area. So there's gonna be one piece here and then another piece over here. I just traced these on aluminum. I do not have a scroll saw, but I cut everything by hand. There are, of course, pros and cons with that. I use just metal shears and cut. I always try to cut a bit outside the line so I can sand them flat afterwards, but cutting by hand, for me, I think it's fine up to about 2 millimeters. That's tough. This is just 1.5 millimeters, so it's quite easy to cut into.
When you cut, you'll get these nasty marks. You need to sand those out. You can also get a wonky piece. You need to flatten that. So usually I just put it on an anvil, flatten it out. And here we have the metallic piece I just made, and the other one, both aluminum. That one is bent and drilled through both. Then I attach the rivet through them both, and I have the head of the rivet on the back side. The rivet was bought at a hobby store. Next, I'll cut it off, just leaving about a millimeter sticking out. Now this millimeter that is sticking out, we're going to flatten that down to attach the pieces permanently to each other. So using the dome part of the hammer, making sure that it's like flattened out almost like a mushroom shape. Then you see me flipping over the hammer and using the flat to flatten it as much as possible, going back and forth a few times. For this particular build, I want that head that's sticking out now to be as flat as possible. So grab a file, and we're just going to file that down until that is flat. When I'm done with both sides and for all the 4 pieces, we're going to move on to the next stage, which is etching. And for that, we're also going to need some stencils.
A lot of people have asked how I do my stencils, and I got myself a stencil cutter. This is the Silhouette Portrait 2, and I got the advice from Dimitri over at Nuclear Snail Studios. Thanks, buddy. It's been a great investment for me to do stencils with. It's quick and easy. I do them in their own program, which is called Silhouette Studios. I just make the stencils there, and I basically print them by cutting them on the vinyl and then attach that to the piece I will make the stencil on. You can paint it on with paint. You can also etch it, which is what we're going to do today. But let's get started. And before we start etching, there's like a couple things you need to check out. I'm not going to go through step by step how we do it. There's a million videos online on how you should etch. Beware of the hazards about it. We are playing with electricity. We are also playing with something that creates fumes, and you need to be in a very well ventilated area and know what you're doing. I recommend starting out with anything that's like the 9-volt battery and doing it outside. That's a great way to start. Read up on it. There's, like I said, a million videos. I'm not going to go through that. We do have our aluminum that we made, which we attached to the other part of aluminum, which is here covered in very beautiful electrical tape. This is the vinyl we cut on the stencil cutter, and we're good ready to burn away some of this material so it looks more like this. The other one is fresh out of the etching, and you can't probably tell, but there is like a small lip here. That's like burnt away material. Before you etch, you need to clean it, and I've cleaned it with just alcohol. Clean it through, make it real nice, no grease stains or anything like that, or dust particles that can damage the stencil or the area that's about to be etched. So we should get started. And you need to connect the one clip to here. And just here. And if everything goes correctly, be a small sizzling noise. I found it easier. Yeah, you can also see the fumes coming off. Do not breathe in those. And with all these things done, we're now going to remove the tape, this is like unboxing at Christmas. Just unpeel it. There you go. Look, some beautiful etching. And you get the warning. We're just going to quickly let's clean this a little bit. Just using normal water. Making sure it's clean. There we go. Move this. Take some black acrylic paint. What we do now is basically we just fill in. There's also some scratch marks on the aluminum overall, so I just covered the entire piece. I actually usually like to use my gloves and just smear around a bit. Grab your cloth, dab, go back and forth. It's a bit too thin, we're gonna need thicker paint. There we go, just blocking the, and there we go. So basically just rub it in and we're gonna let this dry, and then we're gonna go over with some steel wool just to get all the highlights and shadows done right. And with these completed, these are the bumpers are screwed down through these carpet here with one bolt, and I added the carpet with the seatbelt on top. I'm just going to add these parts. These are from the original Ragnarok, which sat around these. But I'm just going to add them over these instead and then screw them down. So I have the same kind of look, but with my touch on it. Bolt goes on the other side. Not too tight, just tighten it up a bit. And there we go, one on each side. I also added a bit of contact glue here for the wire. It's going to be permanently attached in another way, but I already added glue there and just press that into place. And that's going to stay there. And there we go, the look from the front. Nice. Now just keep going. We have all these 4 holes drilled here. They're going to attach this piece to the under layer. So we have this look, and then these are going to get bolted with a big washer. I'm going to be using the ones that attached the shoulders before through here onto the vest, and then we're going to have our complete look. So let's just get that cracking. With the template we made in the beginning, I cut out everything out of aluminum, and this is the shape. I made another template for this triangle section in the middle, used rivets to put them together, etched in all the details using the same techniques and the same stencil as we did before. I also made these holes and countersank them so they will sit very nicely. This is going to be the main piece. I did, however, think this was a bit thin. It didn't pop enough from the vest, so I added just a piece of sheet plastics that I had, just made it exactly the same size, and sit underneath and just add as a spacer in between this and the vest. So next thing is just putting it all together. I have some pre-drilled holes. And I'm using the same kind of hex bolts. I'll be adding nuts to the other side of this, but I first want to just have a look how it looks with the STs in.
front with the spacer. I think actually that adds a nice 3D effect from the side, otherwise it's going to be a bit too plain. So now it pops out a bit more, exactly the effect I was going for. To attach this, I had to rip off a few more points, but we're going to all get into that in the later stages.
That is everything that I had for today. Thanks for joining me in modifying this Ragnarok Shell armor. In the next video, we'll be modifying the neck and the lower abdomen. And that video will be dropped probably early 2019. So until then, have some merry holidays and a good new year. If you found this video useful, please like and comment and share. And to keep yourself posted when the next video drops, subscribe, and I'll see you next year. Until then, take care.